Hey guys, it's Dustin coming at you with another fragrance review. Now, I received a sample of this in the mail last week and I love it. This is a really good fragrance. This is one that I believe is going to become one of my new signature scents, but also the pure versatility this has. Now, the scent I'm talking about, I just bought a bottle of it. The scent I'm talking about is Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau, the Eau de Toilette. Now, in this, it comes in the standard Jean Paul Gaultier fashion. You get the tin here and pops out the bottom. Now, out of the many, there's got to be probably a dozen flankers to the original Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male, and I will admit Le Male has become a little bit more dialed back in performance and projection, but I still get 8 to 10 hours. But this guy here is just a very nice rendition of a powdery slash coconut style fragrance. Now, they only list 3 notes. Now in the top, you're gonna get bergamot. In the mid, you're gonna get coconut. And in the base, you're gonna get tonka bean. Now, in this, what I noticed right away is you get that blast of the tonka bean coming through. The tonka bean comes through more creamy and silky, and the coconut comes through almost like a powdery, almost like a dried coconut. It's not a real juicy coconut. Now, the bergamot in this on my skin is short-lived. It's gone within the first 30 seconds, and it's a slightly zesty bergamot, but you really have to look for it because of the coconut and the tonka bean are such huge players in this. And so it's got such a nice fragrant smell. It does project quite heavy. The scent trail on this is on me personally is big. It trails pretty good. I was at my parents' house and I had a sample of it. I did a couple sprays on my wrist and one on each side of the neck. My girlfriend was there and I sit down at the table. And as soon as I sit down at the table across from her, so we're probably 3-4 feet away, she's like, "What are you wearing?" I was like, "What, do you like it?" She's like, "I like it a lot." And I showed her the sample and she's like, "You need to get a bottle of that." And so, hence this now. So, now, longevity. Now, it does kind of fall in line to me in the longevity realm, about 7 hours on skin for me. And I have dry skin, but it doesn't take away from the performance. Now, this thing projects very well for the first couple hours, and it's very easy to get anosmic to it. It's very easy to get nose blind to it. I find with this one, it tends to want to dry my sinuses out a little bit. So That's why I kind of spray more towards the shoulders as opposed to right in the front of my chest. And it doesn't really stop projecting. You're gonna have a good scent bubble around you for most of the life of this fragrance. At least it was on me. It was above average projection for those first 2 hours, and it didn't die down until right around that 6 hour mark. And even up to that point, from that 3 to 5 hour mark, I was still catching whiffs pretty strongly. And right about that 6 hour mark, that's when things start to sit closer to the skin and you really have to put your nose on it. But the whole time it is performing. Now, I got this 2.5 ounce on Amazon, and I believe I paid right around $68. And you can get the 4.2 ounce. I did see it on Fragrance X, Fragrance Net. They're kind of right around in the high 70s range, which is kind of average for most Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances. So now, when you should wear this. Now, we are in the fall out here in Oregon, so most of our days, they aren't getting above 50. And in the mornings, it can range anywhere from 28 to 38 degrees. This one does well in the cold. This one does well in the rain. I don't know how it's going to perform in the heat, but judging by the creaminess of it from the tonka bean, sometimes a lot of those fragrances that are heavy in tonka bean or heavy in vanilla can become cloying in high heat. Now, on maybe a nice warmer spring day, maybe the 60s to 70s, mid 70s, this might be pretty good. This might do the trick. But I think on high heat, you might want to avoid this one. So now, on occasions, I think you could wear this as casual as you want or as dressed up as you want. Personally, I would wear this to like church, maybe a funeral, God forbid. Maybe going to the beach, going on a date. This would be a nice date fragrance. This would be a good clubbing fragrance, I think. But I'm not at that point anymore. A single father of 3. You're not going to see me in the club. So now, as far as performance goes, I'm still going to rate this fairly high, even though I got 7 hours out of it. It's not a beast in longevity, but it is, in my opinion, bordering that beast mode territory in projection. And so I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for performance. Now, the one we haven't hit on is the presentation. I haven't did a lot of that in my videos, but it's in typical Jean Paul Gaultier fashion. You got the male torso, you got the cap, and that's the typical Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male bottle. Now, presentation on these, you're always going to get them in a tin. It's not going to be that usual cardboard box like you get with a lot of other designers. So that's why I've always loved Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances. So it's going to get a 9 on presentation. Now, versatility. Since you might be able to wear this in the summer, but dial back on the sprays, but just not high heat. Now, I'm going to give it a 7.5 in versatility. So in my humble opinion, this is an 8 out of 10 fragrance. I really like this fragrance. It's gonna get lots of wearing from me in this time of year, and it's gonna do the trick. So there will be plenty more reviews coming up. I'm gonna be doing probably a top versatility or versatile kind of do-it-all type of fragrance top list. I'm gonna be doing a live Q&A coming up here in the next few days. And yeah, so stay tuned. Talk to you guys later.